I am back. Took a little break. Nothing wrong with that. You know, sometimes you need to switch off from football for a little bit. Do you know who else is back? It's only Kal Naismith. The 33-year-old Scotsman has rejoined Luton Town on a free transfer. It's a mix of reactions from Luton Town fans. A lot of people think, oh yeah, that's a good signing. I think it sort of cuts two ways. I'm happy that Cal's back. Look, I discussed it with Phil, one of the guys here at the OK Football Show. He's delighted because ultimately Cal is a tremendous footballer, and there's no doubting that. And a lot of people know I have sort of, I wouldn't call it an agenda, but I dislike Scottish football. I lived up there for 4 years. I watched a lot of it. It was terrible. And I'd say Kal Naismith is probably one of the better Scottish footballers that I've seen in recent times. Oh, yeah, obviously there's your McTominays, your Robertsons. They're good, aren't they? But ultimately, Scottish football has not really been blessed with the top talent. Not since the days of the 70s, the 80s, or even the 90s. The likes of the McCoists, I'd say that was probably as good as it got for Scotland.
He's back! He's back!
Anyway, I digress. This has turned into a I hate Scotland rant. I don't hate Scotland. I have a Scottish grandma. So yeah, I have nothing against Scotland or the good Scottish people. I have nothing against them. I just think in terms of footballing, it's a shame because there isn't a lot of money up there for the footballers to develop, and there's not a lot of money in the league. So naturally, the league is pretty bad.
Everybody down! Down!
So, Kal Naismith has rejoined Luton Town. This is his third stint at Luton Town because he had his first stint, came back on loan last season, and now he's here permanently. And he says he wants to stay pretty much until he's done. Guy's 33. He's a good footballer. Back to when I said earlier about there being two sides to this. The thing I don't like about this transfer, and don't get me wrong, I agree with my colleague Phil that Kal Naismith is a sensational footballer. No doubt. And he's a leader. And we can replay that final game against West Brom over and over in our minds and think, what if Matt Bloomfield had played Kal Naismith on the left side of that back three rather than Ted Mengi? But it's done. You can't change the past. And now we're in League One. Yeah, Cal's a good player. But does this mean we are sort of shoehorning ourselves in to a three at the back formation? It kind of looks that way. Why would you bring in Kal Naismith? Are we planning on playing him in a DM role? I hate that saying, DM. Are we planning on playing him as a defensive midfielder? Well, if you believe the rumours that George Saville is joining, which I can tell you are true, he's not continuing at Millwall. He's going to join Luton. He's had a medical. Don't know if he's passed, but it looks all lined up. So we have George Saville, who is a 32-year-old. We just brought in Kal Naismith, who is a 33-year-old. Not exactly the young upstarts that you want to be signing. But also, Saville would be playing in the defensive midfield role. Where does that mean Kal Naismith's going to play? And to me, this feels more like a board of directors, Gary Sweet, signing, the old faithful, the players he wants to sign, rather than what Matt Bloomfield wants. Because I just don't see it in my head. Like, I love Kal Naismith. There's no getting around. I love Kal Naismith. I think he's tremendous. I was absolutely devastated when he left first time around. But look, that's water under the bridge because he went to Bristol City. We got promoted. It doesn't matter where we are now. Really doesn't matter. But does this mean we're going to be playing a 3 at the back? We need to get away from playing a 3 at the back. We brought in a manager that played 4-2-3-1 or 4-1-3-2 or whatever denomination you want to, however you want to invert that pyramid. And because the squad was built in a way when he arrived with no fullbacks, we couldn't play a 4-4-2. We couldn't play with a left back. We couldn't play with a right back. We had to play the 3-5-2. It didn't help that all the players were completely unfit as well. What does this mean for the Kal Naismith signing? Was this a Matt Bloomfield directed signing? Was this a Yusuf Sajjad directed signing? Or was this a Gary Sweet vanity project signing? We know Gary has his favourites. Right. Coffee break. I just can't get my head around it. Everyone's been banging on. Don't play the back 3. This is the most crucial summer probably in our most recent history. It is. We got to make sure we get it exact. No margin for error. We need to exit the players that that don't want to be here. And there's a long list of them. And we need to ensure that we bring in players that do want to be here. George Saville ticks that box because he's leaving a championship club who offered him a new deal, according to their retained list, to go a level down. Whether his legs are gone or not, 32, he's probably got loads of mileage in those legs. It strikes me as a Alan McCormack type signing, bringing someone in a little bit older, with experience. He's played a lot of games, but I'm sure we'll fix that, won't we? Because we have a knack of taking incredibly fit players and absolutely ruining them. Although that was under Rob Edwards. Let's see what happens under Matt Bloomfield, because he has an ethos on fitness. And he said in his interview that went on the club website yesterday and the club YouTube and the socials, he wants players that want to be here. And Cal obviously does want to be here. Right, so let's read the club statement about Kal Naismith re-signing. Matt Bloomfield has added a familiar face to the Hatters dressing room ahead of the new season with the permanent signing of Kal Naismith. No stranger to Kenilworth Road, the experienced defender arrives on a free transfer following his release from Bristol City. The 33-year-old spent the latter part of the season on loan at Kenilworth Road, playing 10 times on loan from the Robins. That's the thing. He didn't. I don't know if Matt Bloomfield really fancied him. He could have played a lot more. He joined in January, and there were times, sure, when he was unfit, but there were times when Matt Bloomfield should have used him and just didn't. Anyway, it's fine. It brought his total up to 78 appearances in town colours following a previous 18-month spell that began in January 2021. The following campaign saw the Scot make 45 appearances, helping the town to a 6th place finish in the Championship, scoring a memorable last-minute winner against Bournemouth. It was memorable. And it falls to Naismith. It's there. Wow, it was fantastic. Hell of a game that was. That season, which ended with the Hatters reaching the Championship playoffs, Naismith was named Player of the Season before he made the switch to Ashton Gate. Manager Matt Bloomfield said, "It's really important that Cal is signing for us. He's an incredibly well-respected figure here, has a fantastic history with our football club. He's going to be a real leader for us in the dressing room and on the pitch. He has got lots of quality and a great left foot. Above all, he has fantastic organisational and leadership skills. He's going to play an integral part on and off the pitch for us next season." That is quite important. One thing that Tom Lockyer said in a very recent article, I think it was some shit rag, I think it was The Sun, he said the changing room wasn't good. Now, I've been critical of Tom Lockyer. I said he should have been in and around it. While the club is paying his salary, should have been in, around there. But you lose that influence on the playing squad when you're not there playing on the pitch, which is perfectly acceptable. But still, you got to be there. And Kal Naismith has that influence. And most importantly, he will be playing games. So he can exert that influence. So I'm happy with Kal Naismith being there as a leader. And potentially he can grab some minutes, whether it's coming on as an auxiliary left back or a defensive midfielder. But do I want to see us play a 3 at the back? Hell no! Forget the 3 at the back. Barely anyone plays it anymore. We brought in Bloomfied, who played a system. Let's try playing that system now. But on the face of it, am I happy that Kal Naismith's joined? Of course I am. He's a tremendous footballer. He gets the club, and he's got a tremendous head of hair. I think I'm going to need to pay a trip to his barber in Turkey. Right, let me know what you think about Kal Naismith rejoining Luton Town for the 3rd time. Is he going to see out the rest of his career? I hope he does. I like Kal. I just don't want to see a 3 at the back. Anyway, Kal Naismith's back. Ollie K is back. The OK Football Show is back. New season, more content. Everyone, have a great evening or morning whenever you're watching this. Have a good day. Have a good week. And most importantly, come on, you Hatters.